Okay. Yes. Okay. So we are live on all platforms now. Awesome. Uh YouTube. I'm so sorry. Last week when I was broadcasting, I totally forgot to press go live on StreamYard, and I was broadcasting for at least 30 minutes before I realized that I wasn't broadcasting on YouTube. I did upload the show though. It's in my videos section of the YouTube channel, okay? But now we're going to get to the show now that everybody is here. So, we were just talking about an update. Whew, sorry, I'm hot. We were just talking about an update. I want to pull up this photo on StreamYard. Hold on. Guys, if you want to see these photos, you're going to have to join me on YouTube because I can't broadcast them to Instagram and TikTok at the same time, okay? So, like I was saying just a few minutes ago, Bill Belichick, who is in his 70s, is currently dating a young lady who is 24. Her name is Jordan Hudson. While they are dating, Jordan said, I'm going to get my entrepreneuress on, and she filed a bunch of trademarks for herself and for Bill Belichick. And most of them were denied. Why were they denied? Some of them were denied because, like I said, they were owned already by the Patriots, right? And I was asking the audience on TikTok and Instagram, but YouTube, please let me know. Do you associate Bill Belichick with anything outside of football and the Patriots? Is there anything that we know Bill Belichick for? I would argue no, right? So, because his girlfriend was trying to file these trademarks, namely "do your job," which any Patriots fan knows is the Patriots own that. Also, no days off. Um, because they were already trademarked by the Patriots in the same realm for merch and sports and entertainment, those trademarks were denied. When you are in an industry, you cannot have two of the same name within the same industry. Like think about Dove soap and Dove chocolate, right? Dove soap and Dove chocolate can exist in the same universe, in the same store, because Dove soap and Dove chocolate are in two different industries. You're not going to find soap and chocolate on the same shelf at the store. They're in two different sections. So that's why they can exist. But when you try to have the same name in the same industry or the same trademark in the same industry, that can cause confusion. Um, the trademark office said, no, you cannot have do your job. No, you cannot have ignore the noise, the Bellastrator, and no days off, right? And then she also filed a trademark for the term gold digger for jewelry, and that is still being examined. But I say that to say this: uh, when you want to file in a category, when you want to file a trademark, you're going to want to search the USPTO website to make sure that name is not already trademarked, or that phrase is not already trademarked, right? Because if it is, and you submit your application, they're going to deny you, and they're not going to give you your money back, right? And if you doing this through a lawyer's going to charge you minimum like $1,300 to file a trademark, and they're not going to give you their money back either. So for those of you who don't have money to waste like Bill Belichick, because he is a multimillionaire, that's pocket change for him. We need to be, more careful about how we use our money, because we need to reinvest that into our businesses, right? So when we're filing our trademarks, we need to make sure that we do a thorough search for file to make sure nothing is already filed. Now, you can do that on the USPTO website. There are other services, but I do suggest that you use a legal professional like myself to make sure that terms are and phrases are not already trademarked so that you don't waste your money. Okay. And depending on the phrase, sometimes you can get around it with, special colors or special fonts and things like that, but you still want to consult with a legal professional to make sure you're doing it in the right way. Okay. So good luck to Bill Belichick with and this 24-year-old girl. Um Listen, I know she's having fun spending his money. Okay. Break me off a piece, girl. Um all right. Next story that we're talking about is another update. So lately we have been talking about Anthropic AI. Now, some of you may be asking, what does this AI company do, Anthropic? Because we have so many different AI companies out there right now, right? Well, Anthropic, what they do is they train other AI systems. They're basically they are so for those of you who understand or who watched the Terminator series and understand the Skynet, right? Um, what you call that? Anthropic is kind of like, the main hub. No, here's what no. If you watched iRobot, hey, Canada Cape Cod, DC. If you watched iRobot, you remember how they had the main computer in that place? That is what Anthropic does. They teach and they build other AI systems, right? But to teach these other AI systems, Anthropic has been using copyrighted material, and they were sued by a bunch of authors and writers because they were pirating that information. So it's not like they were purchasing these works to train their AI. They were pirating them from the internet. So they were going to go to trial, but then they settled with the authors. They settled a landmark a settlement of $1.5 billion. Okay, it was gonna be a payment of about $3,000 per work, and there were about 500,000 works that were reported used. Right. So everybody thought this was over. They were like, "Oh my God, this is a landmark case for it's a champion case for authors and creatives out there. We're fighting back against AI." But it's not over. The judge in this case threw out the settlement. The judge in this case said, "Look, and y'all came to this to this settlement too quickly. You recorded 500,000 works, but that you've only accounted for those that are in the US copyright system. You're not accounting for those that might be outside of the country, those that might not, have been in the system. So and you have come to this decision very, very quickly." So the judge said, "No, you need to do some more research out there. Go see how many people you actually violated and make sure that you take your time in contacting them to let them know that they got a check coming from Anthropic for stealing." Okay. So the judge said 1.5 billion. That's actually letting y'all off too light. So he told them to go back to the drawing board, go figure out a system to contact. When you get those emails saying there's a class action lawsuit, or the commercial and say you may be entitled to compensation. Basically, they need to do the same thing for this Anthropic lawsuit. Okay. So the judge told them you need to go back to the drawing board. This plan needs to be a little bit more thorough. Okay. So understand that copyright violations can cost you. Think about that. Anthropic was willing to settle for $1.5 billion. Okay. So if you're willing to settle for that amount, think about they must have trillions in the pipeline. But yeah, so that is still an ongoing case. So my writers out there, again, you want to make sure that you have your what do you call that? You want to make sure that you have your copyrights in order, because it is getting very, very dicey out here in these copyright streets now that AI is, you know, on the move. Okay. Next story that we are talking about. Does anybody know remove this? There is a legendary musician by the name of Neil Young. If you have ever heard of Neil Young, please give me, where is it? Please give me an NY in the comments. If you have ever heard of Neil Young, please give me an NY in the comments, okay? There is a clothing line, a luxury fashion brand known as Chrome Hearts. They're known for high-end jewelry, clothing, and accessories. They've been operating as Chrome Hearts since the early 90s, okay? They've got their trademarks, they've got all their stuff together, okay? Neil Young, he has had several bands over his lifetime over his career as a musician, and he has a new band, and he is calling them Neil Young and the Chrome Hearts. Okay, so think about it. When a music act goes on tour now, there is always merch. They're selling T-shirts, hoodies, cups, things like that, right? So some of that comes under the same stuff that Chrome Hearts, the label, sells. So Chrome Hearts, the label, basically said that because they sell merchandise, because they sell merchandise, or Neil Young sells merchandise under the name of Chrome Hearts, and they're continuing to sell even after Chrome Hearts said, hey, we have a trademark on Chrome Hearts when it comes to clothing, so can you please stop? They kept going, right? So Chrome Hearts, they launched a lawsuit against Neil Young and his brand. The Chrome Hearts is saying that some consumers, meaning people who buy their brand, and some vendors, they believe that there is a relationship between this fashion brand and this music group, when there is not. Okay. So they are saying that Neil Young's use of the name Chrome Hearts for his music band and selling merch for Chrome Hearts is interfering with Chrome Hearts, the luxury fashion label. So I want to hear from you guys as an audience. Do you think that Chrome Hearts has a credible argument here? Would it be reasonable for someone to think that Neil Young, this legendary musician, naming his band the Chrome Hearts, would it be reasonable for someone to think that there is some type of collaboration between Neil Young and this Chrome Hearts label? Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Do you think that there is a possibility of confusion or association of Chrome Hearts, the label, with Neil Young and his Chrome Hearts backing band? I think there can be, just because they're selling merch and clothing and things like that. And I think Chrome Hearts is like luxury streetwear. So who knows? We will have to see what happens with these guys. But this is why it is important that you check, make sure that if you have, what do you call that? If you have complimentary merchandise, services, or goods that go along with your trademark and they cover under industries, you need to check those other industries. So if you are this happened to Lady Gaga as well, for her latest her most recent album. She named it, I forget the name, but it was the same name and design as a surf shop that sells clothing, and they were suing Lady Gaga as well. So you just need to be very careful when you have accompanying goods with your services, that you don't violate anybody else's, intellectual property. Okay. So do we understand that? We all good? If we're good, give me a thumbs up. Let me remove this. All right. For those of you who have just come in, you are watching Who's Getting Sued This Week. I'm your host, Natalie Pierre Lewis. I am a business and trademark attorney, and I do give free 15-minute consultations. So hit your girl up. Okay. Next story we are talking about. Okay. We have a lot of AI stories this week. Okay. So, how many of you guys have noticed that now when you do a search on the Google browser, you get a kind of AI summary at the top? If you have noticed when you are on the Google browser that you get this little AI summary at the top, please give me a thumbs up. Okay. And by the way, for those of you, if you want to turn that off, the way you do that is you do your regular search, you type it in, but then you put dash AI, and that will remove the AI summary if you don't want that. But if you have noticed that AI summary at the top when you are searching something on Google, give me a thumbs up. Okay. Now, Google is being sued for that summary. Why? Um, uh, here's the story. So Penske Media, there is a media company named Penske. They publish such magazines such as Rolling Stone, Billboard, Variety, and The Hollywood Reporter. All of those big magazines. They are suing Google in federal court. Why? They are saying that Google's AI overviews, that little summary at the top, uses their journalism without permission and reduces traffic to their websites, right? And that affects their money. Okay. They say that the by having that AI summary at the top, that is replacing what would have been a click on their link. Okay. So Google, and how they're doing this is that in order to, you can basically, or not, you can, but you do your SEO so that you show up on Google. But in order for Google to push you and, show you in the search, you have to give them permission to use your content for their AI overviews. So Google is saying, okay, we'll put you at the top of, the search results, but you have to let us use your stuff so that we can do that little AI summary at the top. Okay. And if you say no, that gives you reduced visibility. So Penske is saying that essentially they're being forced to allow Google to use their copyrighted material. All right. So Penske, they've said that they can actually put a value to what they have lost due to Google's AI summary. They said that approximately 20% of Google searches linking to Penske sites now show AI overview. So when you're Googling something that might be on the Penske website, you're just getting it in the AI summary, so you don't need to click it. Their drop in affiliate revenue dropped. There was a drop in affiliate revenue by more than 1/3. So that means that, when you're on another website and you see the ads pop up, they're not getting that anymore. There is reduced search referral traffic. Okay. So instead of having to, again, click on the links, people just have to read that little AI summary. Now, if they want to get, hey, Lunarville, why would you do that? What? There's nothing wrong with that. Approve. Approve. I don't know why they're doing that. Okay. Approve. Thank you. Please share this out with your peoples. Okay. So now Penske, because they said that they have lost money because of these AI summaries, they said that they want a permanent injunction, meaning they want the courts to tell Google to stop using their content in their AI overviews, and they want monetary damages. They're saying this money that we've lost because of these Google AI summaries at the top, we want that money back. And we want Google to stop using our content for their AI summaries. Okay. Now, here is Google's defense. And I'm going to say right off the top, it doesn't sound like a very good defense to me. Google's defense is that their AI summaries improve the user search experience and help people find information quickly and drive traffic to a wider variety of sites. They argue that the summaries are helpful and that they send users to publishers' websites via links. Now, I have used these AI summaries, and I'm not gonna lie, they do give you the links, right, where they're getting the information. But sometimes that summary is very thorough, and you're just looking for a simple, quick 140 characters explanation, and that AI summary might do it. So you don't take that step to click that link so that that company can get that ad revenue, right? So that is why so that Google's defense is like basically their AI summaries are easier for the user, and the Penske, the publisher, is saying, well, we're losing money because of that ease. So we will have to wait and see what happens with that. Okay. A lot of these websites, a lot of these big publishing websites, the magazines, their money is made on ads. They need y'all to click them, right? So if people aren't clicking them because of these AI summaries at the top that are scraping the information, that's taking money directly out of their pocket, and they do not want that. So we will have to wait and see what happens with Penske and Google. Okay. And again, if you do not like those AI summaries at the top of, when you're doing your Google searches, you can eliminate that. Just at the end of your search, just put, a dash AI, and it will remove that AI summary at the top. Okay. All right. Next story that we are talking about. If you have Spotify, please give me a music emoji. If you have Spotify, please give me a music emoji. Okay. Now, I've used Spotify. It's cool. I'm more of a Pandora girl because I just kind of want to set it and forget it. But so with Spotify, if you really want to experience the fullness of it, you want to get you are supposed to get a paid account, right? Here's the issue. There is an open source project called Revanced. Revanced produces patches for Android apps which allow users to unlock convenience or premium-like features not normally accessible without pay. So basically, Revanced is a website that helps you jailbreak different apps, including Spotify. So now, for Spotify, if you want to be able to like make playlists and listen to whole albums in their entirety, do that, you're supposed to pay a premium price. But Revanced, they had created a patch where you could subvert that and get those premium features without paying. Okay. When Spotify realized this, they went to GitHub, which was where you could download. What do you mean it's about to be out of power? Hold on, I gotta plug in my computer. Woo. I thought I had set up the plug already. Hold on. Don't go out on me. Don't go out on me. Yes. Okay. So where was I? Yes. So Spotify went to the website where you could download Revanced, and they told them, hey, Revanced, they are violating our, intellectual property, our copyrights. Please take them off your website, right? So, or tell Revanced to take them off your website. So Revanced, they took it down. But they are saying that they disagree with Spotify's claims that it's copying code. So Spotify, their main claim is not only did you find a way to get around our system. You did it using our proprietary code. Remember, you can copyright computer code, okay? So they're saying that our computer code that would allow someone who has paid to access these features, you somehow got a hold of it and you used it to make a patch so that people who had not paid could access those features, right? So Revance is saying no, they did not. They said that their patch, they argue much of what the patch enables is functionality already available in Spotify's free version. The patch focuses more on bypassing certain protections. Okay. They're saying that essentially, look, we did not copy your code. Okay. We used what was out there and we worked around it. So Revance, they don't, it's it's probably two people sitting in their room, but they are now just out there. They're looking for counsel and they're trying to figure out what their rights are. But again, I want you to remember, computer code, you can copyright computer code. And if you write code that is meant to get around firewalls, protections, and things like that, there are laws against that. You're not supposed to do that. Okay. So right now, some of you might be like, oh, I need that patch so I can get me some free Spotify. Well, the patch is no longer there. It has been taken down. Revance is trying to consider whether they should restore it. I doubt they will. I doubt they're going to choose to fight this. But again, this is for you guys to remember that there are in the creative world, there are so many things that you can copyright, and you need to be careful. This was obviously trying to get around getting to pay, but my coders out there, keep your code a secret, okay? All right. If we have any coders in the audience, let me know. Give me some type of notification in the comments. All right, our next story that we are covering on tonight. This is our main story for the night. If you saw in the title, I told you guys the dictionary people are suing the AIs. Okay. So again, or not again, but we know there are multiple AI products out there. The ones that I know of off the top of my head: Anthropic, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Canva, and most websites that you use nowadays have some type of AI assistant. Yes. But there is one AI assistant that is really it's really used for deep dive. You pay for it, costs about $200 a month to use. It's called Perplexity. Okay. Perplexity, excuse me. Perplexity is an answer engine and it does deep dives into information. Okay. The problem is what Perplexity does is it scrapes articles and definitions from websites without permission and then generates responses that are pretty much exact to what you would find on the website. Here's where the dictionary people come in. So how many of y'all had a set of encyclopedias growing up? I'm showing my age. We still have that set of encyclopedias in the house, right? So the company that used to make the encyclopedias, Encyclopedia Britannica, they also own Merriam-Webster, the dictionary name, right? And if you didn't know, the definitions and the posts, the articles on different subjects in the encyclopedias and in the dictionary, those are copyrighted. The definitions in the dictionary, y'all, are copyrighted, okay? So, excuse me. So what Britannica is saying is that Perplexity uses their names, their links to make content that and make it look like it comes from them. Okay. And they are making it seem like the content that Perplexity is providing is with the permission of the Britannica people, when it's not. Perplexity is just coming, swiping the information, and then slapping their name on the bottom. That's like you selling some, selling knockoff bags on Canal Street in New York. That's essentially what Perplexity is doing with the information. Okay. So how does Perplexity work? Like I said, it uses bots. It goes to different websites and scrapes contents. And it can even bypass restrictions that try to block bots. Okay. And it uses that content to feed its model and give responses that are almost identical to what you would find in the encyclopedia or the dictionary. Okay. And then also, if there is any inaccurate information, the AI, the Perplexity AI, it attributes it to the encyclopedia or the dictionary. So if there's a mistake, the AI says, "Oh, that's not me. That's what I found in the encyclopedia or the dictionary." And they're like, "No, no, no." Okay, they said that the AI is damaging their reputation. So right now they're asking for unspecified monetary damages, which means they're probably still trying to calculate it. And they also want the court to tell Perplexity, stop stealing our stuff. Like, get your own definitions. Our definitions are copyrighted. Okay. And when you're talking about institutional brands like this, Encyclopedia Britannica, Merriam-Webster, the Webster, the Encyclopedia and Dictionary people, these brands have great esteem in our culture, right? Thank you. Have great esteem in our culture. We count on them to be right. So if Perplexity is out here scraping information illegally, getting it wrong, and then blaming the source that they stole it from, that is a big problem. And that is what the Encyclopedia Britannica and Merriam-Webster people are alleging. Okay. Yes. So they're suing Perplexity and saying, look, if you're going to steal, first of all, stop stealing our stuff. But if you're going to steal our stuff, make sure you get it right. Thank you for the gift, Brittany. So yes, good luck to Encyclopedia Britannica. I'm telling y'all, like, these AI cases, we had 3 AI cases already tonight. It's crazy. So this is the time where you really need to protect your work. Okay. All right. Let's hold on. For those of you who just came in, oh, my girl Brit is here. Go follow your craft biz bestie or join the craft room on TikTok. For those of you who are Etsy people, hey, Hope One. Hey. All right, we are coming to our next story. So this is for my people who are planning on filing a trademark in the near future. Okay. I want you to know that the trademark office, they have temporarily extended their response, the response time for you to respond back, but it's not set in stone. So I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? So for responses to complaint proceedings, so if somebody says, I don't want this trademark to go through, wasn't already long. Yeah, I don't want this trademark to go through for whatever reason, right? You used to have 40 days to respond to the complaint as to why your trademark shouldn't go through. The Trademark Appeal Board, they have recently extended that to 60 days. They started doing that September 4th. But if they want to, the appeals board can shorten that time. So if you are a person, here's how this could affect you. Let's say you have a trademark that for some reason you haven't filed yet and somebody filed it first, but you want to oppose it because you're like, well, I was using it first. They're going to give you that you used to have 40 days to respond. Now you have 60, but they still reserve the right to shorten it back to 40. So it behooves you to do it sooner rather than later. Now, how does this affect you if you are the person who the person who's filing the trademark and who wants it to pass? For you, having a shorter response time is good, because that means that, you know, if somebody is dragging their feet, most likely you can get it done. But the more time they give somebody to oppose and respond, you know, the more you know, that can just cause you more anxiety. Okay, so just so you know, they have given you more time to respond to an opposition to a trademark, but it is just temporary for right now, and they could change it back at any time. Okay, so be careful. All right. Does anybody watching? Does anybody own any Lululemon athletic wear? Okay, if you own anything from Lululemon, give me an LL. And if you have ever purchased clothing from Costco, give me a C. So if you have ever owned Lululemon clothing, give me an LL in the comments. And if you have ever bought clothing from Costco, give me a C. Now, a couple weeks ago, I told you that Lululemon was trying to sue Costco because they said that they were infringing on their proprietary threads. Hold on. Brittany said, I would never call Lululemon, never after Lululemon called the cops on the lady who paid and said what? I didn't hear about that. You got to send me the link to that. I didn't know. Regardless of how you may feel about Lululemon, it is a high end athleisure wear. And they recently filed a trademark lawsuit against Costco because they said that Costco was copying their athleisure wear and their I guess they have trademarked weaves or seams or something that they use. Hold on a second. Sorry, y'all. I'm hot. Yes. So they're saying that Costco copied their seams. Okay. And they're saying that it might cause confusion for vendors. But in my opinion, I would never find Lululemon at Costco. If I'm shopping at Costco, there is no way I'm going to think that I am getting Lululemon quality athleisure wear, right? Because Lululemon, their stuff goes for a pair of leggings is like $118 for some reason. For $118, them leggings better last me till glory days, okay? Till I go to glory. But anyway. So Lululemon, they said that the vendors, they're so visually similar that they might cause customer confusion. But the problem is, hold on, here we go. So Costco hired a fashion designer who analyzed Lululemon's pants versus Costco's pants, right? And they said that, you know, although Lululemon's pants were higher quality, yes, were higher quality, many of the design features are driven by function rather than style. So I have told you guys so many times, it is really, really hard to claim intellectual property in clothing. Usually brands will do it with, you know, specific designs. Think Louis Vuitton, think Gucci, specific colors, all that, right? But when it comes to athleisure, it's really hard to distinguish yourself. So some of them do it with the seams, with the patterns, you know, but it's difficult. For me, I'm not really into. I buy what is it? I buy my workout clothes at Ross. I get the leggings for like $7 and the tops for maybe like $6. Right? I'm never paying $118 for a pair of leggings. So for me, I don't think I would ever mistake something I buy at Costco for something of for Lululemon, because I know the Lululemon price point, right? Plus, this fashion designer says, look, you know, a lot of the designs between Costco and Lululemon, they're not, very distinctive. They're just part of making workout clothes, and that could really affect Lululemon's defense. Okay. Um, but so let me see. Hold on. I missed some comments. Brittany said, "And my bottom better look amazing in them, no matter what size I am." Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. But yes. Again, when we think about the price point between Lululemon and Costco, I don't think there can be any confusion. How many of y'all remember there was this craze going around on social media because there was the Walmart Birkin bag that was going around, and we talked about it on this show, and everybody was like, "Ooh, they're gonna get sued by Hermes," and Hermes was like, "You can keep that little Walmart Birkin, because nobody buying a bag from Walmart is going to think that it is an actual Birkin bag, and anybody who really knows Birkin bags is gonna know that bag is from Walmart." They're like, "Look, it's two different classes. We do not click. We do not go in the same spaces. You are never going to be able to buy a Birkin the same place you can buy a Walmart bag. So do your thing, Walmart, right?" Just like that, I don't think you're ever going to find Lululemon in the same place with Costco, because Costco stuff is the Kirkland brand. They only sell the Kirkland brand at Costco, right? Do they sell the Kirkland brand anywhere else? Y'all can let me know, because I have never heard of that. But what they're saying is, um, that, because Costco sells their athletic wear at such a low price, that people might not want to buy Lululemon anymore, because like I said, remember, I just said, if I buy a pair of leggings for $118, I want it to last till I go to glory. Lululemon is afraid that if people can get the same quality athletic wear from Costco that they can get from Lululemon, they're no longer going to buy Lululemon. And exactly, because I'm not paying for it. So we will see what happens between what you call that, Lululemon and Costco. But I really don't see them prevailing in this. Okay. All right. Wow, already? Are we done already? Hold on. Let me check and make sure that we went over all the stories, because I think I may have jumped around a little bit. We talked about Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. We talked about Chrome Hearts. We talked about um, Rolling Stone. We talked about what else? We talked about Spotify. We talked about the Dictionary Britannica people. We talked about Perplexity. No, that was the Britannica people. We talked about the trademark office with the extended time. We talked about Lululemon. And we talked about Anthropic. Yeah, we covered everything tonight, guys. Wow. And we did it with time to spare. So, do we have any questions on any of the stories that we covered tonight, or on intellectual property or business law in general? Because now is your time to ask, since we have a few minutes left. You can write your questions in the comments, and I will answer them for as long as you have questions. While you do that, I just want to remind everybody else, and thank you guys for watching. If you need to pick a legal mind about business, or your trademarks or copyrights, I do provide free 15-minute consultations. and you can book. Hold on a second. Let me get this banner up for y'all so that you have it right on hand. You can book a free 15-minute consultation right there on the banner. StreamYard, TikTok, and Instagram. The link is in the the account. Brittany said, "Did you see the craft girls on my silly goose?" I saw a few answers. I didn't see a lot. There was one person that I did respond to, but I will check after I get off of here. Okay. So if we don't have any questions, I will sign off for the evening. I'm going to be back on at 9 o'clock with the head of the Black USA News Network. We are continuing his Indigenous series. This is going to be more of a question asking session. So if you guys want to pop in, please do. All right. So I am going to sign off now and cool off because your girl is hot. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being interested in these things, because these are important things to know if you want to be a business owner or full-time content creator out here. Okay, have a good night and take care of yourselves. Bye. How do I end this? End. Are you kidding? Okay. All right. Okay.